we drive your business. We mean business 24 hours, 7 days a week. And this is the point. Today we are talking in a special way matters concerning the youth and how they can participate actively in the economy and sustainable development. I'm with Miss Ruth Awori and Mr. Wera Michael, who is from DCIC. Miss Ruth, we want to talk about the role of technology and how the youth can embrace technology in this day and age, where tech is actually something which is a need. It's no longer something you need, you want, or something that's optional. You must have technology with you if you're to progress in life. How can the youth embrace technology, especially when you noted at the beginning of the show that few people have smartphones to start with? So how can we be able to kick this roof off our house and get technology actually rolled out for all the young people?
Thank you, Anthony. So first and foremost, I'll take you back to the COVID time. I think this is where we realized that we have no option than migrating to tech and making everything digitalized. Because when we couldn't move, for us as an organization, a lot of work was happening on the mobile applications. For example, delivering drugs and other health commodities to people in their respective communities, at their homes, in their villages, providing information to young people on social media, on the applications, doing quizzes to check the level of information that they had, among others. So what do we need to migrate? We live in an era, I'll repeat it, that in an era we are in, mostly in Kampala, you'll find that most of the youth have access to a mobile phone, a smartphone, a laptop, a tablet, or a computer, or a TV, or something that is technology. But when you go back to our respective, way back to our roots, like in Toro, where I come from, all the way very far in Kwen or Boko, you realize that some of the people that we are talking about only have access to a very small phone, the button phones. So if we are to migrate to technology and utilize it, we need to think strategically, how can we ensure that we do not leave anyone behind as we are trying to migrate to tech, taking into consideration the different uniqueness of the needs that we have. First, it could be internet, access to internet. It could be an issue of access to a smartphone or even electricity to charge the gadgets. So we need to work a lot as a country to make sure that smartphones are affordable, because where we are heading to, you'll find that sometimes you don't even need to buy a newspaper pull-out. You can use your phone to read what's happening, or you can use your phone even if you don't have a television set to watch the news that are happening in the country. So we need to support to make these tech products accessible, because the more we digitalize, the less we spend on the actual work. Because instead of printing a lot of work, then you're sharing on social media and it's easy to access. And then also the other thing that we need to look at is how do we ensure that we actually save the information that we actually provide on tech? Because as long as digitalization is important, sometimes it's hazardous. We've seen very many young people access obscene information, pornography, learning Western ways from social media, from videos that they get to access on their phones, from things that they're learning from videos that they're seeing on their television set. So how are we making sure that we may not have control of the information that is flowing in, but we could have control of how much information, important information, we're actually providing on the same platforms to ensure that it's actually creating traffic on those gadgets and you have no option but to see it. For example, are we providing information on social media? TikTok is trending. How many of us are using TikTok accounts to provide information to the young people who are very active? You'll find someone getting on their phone at 10 and getting off at 2 a.m. just scrolling through videos. So how are we utilizing the same? But the other thing we could also look at is an issue of digital health for people in their respective communities. You realize that sometimes when we're in the COVID-19 period, that's when we realize that actually a doctor can log onto an account and prescribe medicine for a client who is in Kisoro, and they can actually get the treatment from a pharmacy on their end, or even track their viral load suppression, their viral load on the different mobile applications. So as much as we are looking at migrating to technology, there is still a lot more work that we need to do. We really appreciate the different individuals that have taken up the initiative to utilize the technology to support the communities, to respond to the needs of the communities. People who developed applications that helped with accessing treatment, people who developed mobile applications that helped with accessing services to post-violence, people who developed applications, or even USSD systems that actually do cater for the people who are using button phones. Yeah. So we need to be really innovative and think broad, but also be supportive as a country. What are the tariffs that we are putting on mobile data? I remember it getting taxed. So are we supporting to see that actually we can be able to utilize the different systems that are being put in place, but also make sure that we protect the young people who are using these systems? Are we saving the information based on gender, based on age? What are we thinking about online bullying? Because that's also happening right now. Body shaming, people sharing or spreading someone else's photos, exploiting them or blackmailing them over the digital platforms. So we need to do really a lot to protect the people, but also save the information that is happening and make it accessible as well.
I agree, but the point of control or putting a few guidelines on how people are using the internet or social media, isn't that actually sabotaging the goal of liberalism when it comes to the internet? Because when you look at the countries like United States, they are very liberal spaces online. They say you can do anything you want online. No one is going to stop you. Of course, with specific limitations to maybe information regarding companies or something, but nothing more serious. So if we put these barriers and young people can't access this, won't it actually create a hurdle instead?
So what we are looking at is not necessarily taking away your liberty, but rather ensuring that as you're enjoying your liberty, you are not sabotaging someone else. I would have made reference to different articles that have been rolled out, that have been published, that actually tarnishing someone else's name. What we are looking at is how do we ensure that while you are using the social media, you are not actually using false information to bring Ruth down. What we are looking at is if you are giving Ruth, who is 10 years old, a mobile phone, can she access pornographic sites? Because that has been one of the issues. Can she access pornographic sites? And we are also looking at how many people are exploiting young people using social media. So as much as we are using it for marketing our businesses, it's a really nice platform for marketing businesses. We've seen very many online businesses coming on. It has its own pros, very many. They outweigh the cons. So all that we need to do is assess what are the risks that we run with technology and digitalization, and how do we curb them to either they do not at the other side overweigh the goods that actually need to be celebrated or utilized in the due process. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I agree now. Mr. Wera, the fact that technology is here to stay, what do you think are the relevant skills and qualities young people need to look up to in this digital era, especially geared towards sustainable development initiatives?
During this generation, I think we are so blessed that there are very many things that we have that our elders never had. Starting with the phones, these smartphones that we have, the applications that we have. We have very many applications, good ones and bad ones, but sometimes it depends on who calls it bad and who calls it good. But we have very many applications. During those days, I don't think there was anyone who could easily access Javas when he's just seated at home. But right now, you just sit at the comfort of your bed and you make an order. They bring everything to you at home. And during COVID, it saved the people from the canes that they used to get from soldiers and LDU, because you could just sit home, order for Javas, order for KFC, order for anything that you wanted from the market down in Owino. So people came up with very many apps, of which these apps are still in existence. And that takes me back to the Innovation Hub. During those days, the Ministry of ICT funded very many people, innovators who came up with apps that are helping Ugandans in agriculture, in marketing, in education. They have come up with very many apps. Like we have Clanet that is being used at universities, where people just sit at home and study online. Clanet has helped very many people. Even right now, even in primary, you find a primary kid studying online, knows how to operate the app, knows everything about the app. So technology has now really helped us so much that it is really saving time and saving money. Because you remember during those days you could need something from another district, but you couldn't access it. But now you can just access it easily using an app, or someone just sends you a message. Like, remember those days when you wanted to take a photo, when someone wanted a passport photo from you, you had to travel from here maybe to Busia to deliver the passport photo. But right now, you just take a photo, send on email, on WhatsApp, then they just print it from that side. So those very many apps have really helped. And I think for now, Uganda as a country will be having our own sites that are regulated. For now, we cannot regulate any site. And remember, very many people up to now are not happy that Facebook is now restricted. But as a country, every country has its laws. So when our government decides to regulate and says, please, Facebook, let's do this, Twitter, let's do this, if they refuse, as a country, we can decide to come up with what we want. But very soon, I know we'll be having our own apps at the Innovation Hub. You guys take some time and already visit that Innovation Hub. You'll find very many youth who are already seated there, coming up with software, this and the other. We have so many software developers. People are developing very many softwares that do different things. In fact, we even have young kids that are developing robots here in Uganda, and that is the technology that we want. Technology should be starting from primary schools, so that by the time this person grows up, they already know, they have already developed something that is very serious. So for me, I think technology, we should all look at this technology and embrace it. We should even emphasize and put more emphasis on studying these courses, science courses, because when you look at the developments that we have the technology. We now have the developments of our Kayola bus, Chira, that is under Chira Motors. Chira Motors will be employing very many youth who have learned these things, technology, because there is science and there is technology. So in a bus, there is those who know science will be using their science. Those who know technology will also be deploying their technology to do the various things that are needed in the bus. So I think embracing technology is something that we should all take and embrace.
And finally, Ms. Awori, the thoughts you have for government and young people, especially those living with HIV and AIDS, how should they be feeling right now in the society? Like, sometimes stereotypes them, and sometimes they struggle to get through education, they struggle to get access to healthcare services, and then they have to come up and compete with the rest of the world. And also looking at the skilling and the qualities that they require as well to compete in the job market. What single message would you have to them, and what message would you have also for government?
Thank you very much, Anthony. So first and foremost, to people who are living with HIV, young people who are living with HIV, the message is very simple: perseverance. Because unlike malaria, today you have it, tomorrow it's cured. HIV is incurable, and you just have to learn how to live with it and thrive in the community. As we wait on government to make the environment safe and accepting of people living with HIV, to address the stigma and discrimination, what we need to do in the meantime is young people need to adhere to their treatment first and foremost. At least it's still available. They also need to be responsible for their lives and see to it that they are living healthy lives, they are living positive lives. And also they need to see to it that where the chances available, they actually access education. Because yes, we are lobbying for leniency at some point, engagement at some point, but until we achieve those results, we still have to persevere and survive in this situation. So pursuing education, being competitive at what you do, because unlike just the only difference with people who are living without HIV is actually around not taking treatment or not taking pills every day, so the brain does not get damaged. And for the government, the message is simple. I'll go back to the reasons I gave you. We just need to make the environment safe. Let's look at the laws that criminalize living with HIV. We need to reform those laws. I'm very happy for the policy that was approved last year that was looking at reducing stigma and discrimination. We need to see such beautiful laws come into practice. We need to see to it that when a young person suffers stigma and discrimination, they're able to run to the court and get justice served. And also the other thing that we need to see is actual involvement of these young people in designing of programs. I'm very happy that a lot of models are being captured and brought to the country to address the issues of young people, like the YAPS model. We are very happy to have participated in the design of the program, but we also need to see more engagement at different levels, at district aid committees. We need to see more level at different levels, the AIDS control program, designing of different programs and grants that actually speak to young people living with HIV. And we also need to see equality and equity in the different programs. I'm very happy that we have talked about youth programs and their involvement in the sustainable development. We are very sure that young people living with HIV have a very big role to play. And unless we actually are intentional on engaging them, removing the barriers that are stopping them to contribute to the sustainable development, then we are very much going to utilize the numbers and be able to reach multitudes, but also possibly close the tap on new HIV infections.
Wow, thank you so much, Ms. Awori, there for that submission. Mr. Wera, as we wind up, how can people know more about GCIC and where can they find you? I'm sure many people don't know about this because they think government is on one side and we the people are on the other side, the citizens. But now that you're reaching out to the public and mediating between government and the public directly, how can people be able to participate under this beautiful program?
People can access GCIC through our different platforms, both on Twitter. We don't use Facebook because
it's off.
It's off.
Okay.
But we use Twitter. We have Instagram, and we have other platforms like WhatsApp. We have numbers, especially if you go online on Twitter, you can see Government Citizen Interaction Center. We have a website. And on our website, every month we present what we call the presidency. We tell people about what the president does throughout the month. And every quarter, every 3 months, we always present what has happened in all the various ministries, the achievements, what they have achieved, what government has come up with, what the cabinet discussed. So after 3 months, we come up with the quarter. And the quarterly magazine gives all that information, and all what we do is always e-magazine. We have e-magazines. Everything is on our website, on our number that people normally call. People just call and help them. And that thing helping, we really help because at least we know everyone in these various ministries, and at least for us we can talk to the ministers and we can talk to all those technical people. So people should make use of the Government Citizen Interaction Center. Whatever issue that you want, whatever issue that you think you have with anyone, you can always call us or engage the anti-corruption unit. If the anti-corruption unit is not picking up, engage GCIC. For us, we can easily talk to the anti-corruption unit and tell them, do you know what? These people have failed to access this. These ones have failed to access this, because every ministry and every government official know that they are supposed to be doing what the president wants them to do. So whoever stops doing what they are supposed to do, is doing it illegal. Like, you know, we normally we hear people call and someone is asking you, I'm at the airport, this is happening, they have told me I cannot travel, they need money. But really, such things, there are very many things that really happen out there that we are trying to deal with. And with the media center close here, we work closely with the media center, because all the time the media center has to invite ministers come here, address these issues. After addressing these issues, we simplify all those communications in the languages that people understand very well, the local people. And when we go out in those villages, we engage the local people in community barazas, engage them, talk to them. And even you, if you have issues, if you think you can even come and have your talk show with us. You can say to come and hold it at GCIC. We engage with different agencies, with different NGOs. They come, we sit together, discuss, have discussions, as long as it is informative to the local person. We are always doing that. So I encourage everyone to always look out for GCIC. We keep sharing all that information. We keep sharing the numbers in WhatsApp groups for people to call in case they have any issues.
Wow. Thank you so much for the time you've given to us. I'm sure the viewers were actually glad. Sophia Oine was online. I've seen NFP and a couple of other people who actually commented on the show, and they were appreciating the submissions here and a few questions which we might not have time to actually go through. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. My name is Anthony Sebale. Keep watching Smart 24 TV. A lot is coming your way, and I'll catch you next time, same place and same time. Thank you so much. Have a very wonderful evening.